Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Planet Marzipan,
Your fish and Marillion podcast.
where we talk about all things in the planet of Marillion and fish. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate.
Craig Houston.
Hello, and welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza. I'm here with my good friend.
Big.
And we have a full house tonight to discuss Marillions with Friends from the Orchestra album. We welcome back all returning guests. We welcome Stephanie Bradley.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. We welcome Grae Tennick.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello, very well, mate. Good to see you.
Cheers.
We welcome Mark Owens.
Hello. Great to see you
Hello,
all.
we can hear him. It's all going
Hey.
well. It's all going well. We welcome back Nathan Page.
Good evening.
Hi, Nath. You okay?
Good.
Good. And we welcome Mikie Kay.
Hi.
It's going to be a big one.
Hoo-hoo.
It's going to be a big one, folks. So we are here to discuss Marillion's 2019 album With Friends from the Orchestra, which was released, according to my notes, on the 29th of November 2019. I'm looking at Craig to disagree with me like he normally does.
No, yeah, you're right.
He's all right with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you, Craig, on the 29th of November 2019?
Oh, a grand old age of like 47, if I remember right.
Wow. Okay. There is a Wikipedia entry for this album, and it goes as follows. With Friends from the Orchestra is an album by English progressive rock band Marillion. It was released on the 29th of November 2019 through Ear Music and Intact Records. The album consists of orchestral re-recordings of songs from the band's catalogue spanning Season's End 1989 to Sounds That Can't Be Made 2012. Recording took place at the Racket Club, the band's own studio, and Peter Gabriel's Real World Studios. Strings were provided by the Impreza Folly String Quartet, and string arrangements were written by Michael Hunter, who also co-produced the album with the band, and the release is the band's second album of re-recordings after Less Is More. Before we sort of go into what we think of this album, I think Stephanie's got a little bit of background about how it came about, and would that, have I put you on the spot there, or is that accurate?
No, that's fine. The whole Friends from the Orchestra project is very special to me because of Emma, and I'm not sure that everyone knows the background of my connection to Emma. So Emma's mum, Carol, was my very best friend from the age of 18, and today would have been her 61st birthday. And sadly, during COVID, she was very suddenly taken from us. We're not sure why, because it was during COVID. And I'd very much like to dedicate this episode to Carol on her birthday.
Okay.
So I've known Emma since she was about 3 hours old. And
is this Emma Halnan,
this is Emma Halnan.
who plays the flute on the album?
Plays the
doesn't she?
flute, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember rushing over when she was born, and I've literally known her all her life, seen her grow up from, baby to a beautiful young woman, a very, very talented young woman. I remember phoning Carol one day, and I could hear this music in the background, and it was beautiful. And I said, "Oh, you're listening to classical music, what you listen to?" And she said, "Oh, that's Emma." And she was about 8, and I was just blown away, absolutely blown away. She was the Woodwind finalist and the Young Musician of the Year. She got a scholarship to the Purcell School of Music, and then a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music. She won the Carl Jenkins Music Prize, for which he wrote a piece of music especially for her called, I forgot what it's called now. I don't think it's called Emma's Song. anyway, I'll find out what it was and you can put it
Okay,
in the notes.
we'll drop it in. Yeah.
And how this came about was when she was 16. I remember saying to Mike Hunter, if ever you need someone to play the flute, I know somebody. And that was when she was about 16. And then quite a few years later, he came back and he said, you mentioned someone. And lo and behold, events followed. So
Wow.
I'm
Isn't it lovely how it works out?
immensely proud
Yeah.
of Emma. And then there's one further bit of great happy news amongst, after the sad news, was on the European Friends of the Orchestra tour. Sam, the horn player, couldn't do the last 3 dates.
Right.
And I had nipped over to basically get a free ride on the bus and spend some time with her because there was a spare bunk and do the last 3 dates. But someone else joined on the last 3 dates and his name was John. And to cut long story short, they're now a very, very happy couple and have been really ever since then.
Oh, brilliant.
Together very happily. So another Marillion love story.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I mean, this album is, am I right in thinking that it came about as another sort of spacer between records so that the band weren't sort of feeling too rushed into going into the next album?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's quite a long record. It's nearly 80 minutes long in total. And there's some key choices on here, which we will go through track by track. Nath, what are your memories of how this came about and
I watched the documentary yesterday, and as we kind of alluded to, it was very much a stopgap. I think the band very much enjoyed the second half of the Albert Hall show. I remember early 2019 being at the weekends, one of them saying to me, look, we've done some recording for this. We're really excited about it. We are going to tour it. Basically, it's going to be the second half of the Albert Hall show, but bigger. And I just remember them all being kind of very excited around it and quite enthused about where it could go.
Yeah. Craig, had we heard about it at Port Zealand? Is that right?
We heard about it quite early on because we'd had early tom-tom drums of it. But yeah, and I do think like less is more. And like this, I think they're a good idea for the band between some albums to have something different like this to give them a bit of time between releases and to let them get something like out of their system that they don't have this like a typical pressure of a new album on. And I personally, I think they really should have done something like this before this new album, just for shits and giggles. But that's me.
It's not really a business plan, is it? Just for shits and giggles.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Hey,
Great for a weekend away, but not for a big spend on an interim record.
Shits and giggles. Masters of their own destiny now, so they can do whatever the hell they like. So just.
And that's why Lucy's the manager and not you. Gray, you got any memories about how this came about and the beginning of it?
So for me, it was just obviously after the first Royal Albert Hall show, the second half of that blew me away. I hadn't seen any of that idea before, and I remember when I first heard. So I think it was just after the weekends I'd heard about this idea, and I remember being so excited about it because of what I'd seen at the Albert Hall, to say if they can capture that and put it on record, it will be just something really special, something very different to Less is More, and something which takes the band because I think a lot of the material the band have done, particularly, and I think it shows in the set list that they chose for the album, is there's so much atmospherics and so much ambience to the stuff that they do. To be able to have the arrangements for the strings and everything behind that, it just lifts that ambience to a whole other level, and it lets the band breathe a bit more in the music, and it just lets it flow. I was really excited about it, and I was not disappointed when it came out either.
Okay.
So
Hold your fire.
I'll hold my fire.
We'll talk more in a minute. Yeah. Mark, what do you remember about it?
Just being
It's
there.
Marillion,
It's
by the way.
Marillion, yeah. Well, I can remember the All One Tonight, which was the first Albert Hall gig, and yeah, it's just that everything is there's more depth to everything with the strings, and I've always loved like standard like acoustic guitar. It's so simple but so, you know, and I love the strings and the flute and everything else and all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, they filmed it in Cardiff, which was kind of nice, and you know, because unfortunately the place is not open anymore due to structural problems, but it's got a fantastic sound in there, and I think it's one of the best sounding smaller venues in the country, to be honest, and that's, you know, the whole of Britain. And I just thought it was amazing. It was really amazing. But how it come about, I got no idea. I just turn up at these things.
I know you do, mate. I know you do. Usually somebody buys a ticket and gives it to you. I understand. I know the deal. Yeah. Mikey, have you got any memories about this?
Just to add that there was a genuine buzz, I think, about this one. I was a little disappointed with the Less Is More release. It was. I think it's one of those Marmite releases, but this genuinely, I was really, really looking forward to. And I didn't make it to the Albert Hall, but obviously got to hear All One Tonight. And you and Craig were like shouting from the rooftops about how brilliant the gig was, and you know, and I just thought
It wasn't bad.
again,
Yeah.
like Grace said, if they can capture that in the studio and put a record out, it's going to be absolutely astounding.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it there.
Okay, we'll leave it there. So the first thing that we heard from this record, I think, was Estonia, wasn't it,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they released a video of it with them doing a rendition of it at Real World Studios.
Yeah. Yeah.
All black and white and very atmospheric.
Okay. Should we go track by
Not a
track?
sad enough song.
Sorry?
I said as if it's not a sad enough
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
You know, really ran that home.
What do you make of the With Friends version? We'll start. On my screen, we'll start in the top left. Craig, what do you make of it?
I love it. I think it was a good choice to release it as a sample of what the album was to be. Is it better than the original? No. But I've said this from the beginning of this version of it. If they had kept the balalaika line throughout it with the orchestra, it would have soared, and it would have been possibly one of my favorite versions of a Marillion song ever. And I just think it sounds beautiful with the orchestra, but it's just missing that one little thing. And if they'd kept the balalaika thing, it would have got an 11 out of 10 for me. But it's still beautiful. Don't get us wrong; it's absolutely stunning. But it's a close could have been for me.
All right, Nath, what do you make of it?
I love it. I think the opening string section is really nice. I think it's a really nice introduction into the song. Does it beat the original? Probably not, but it's damn close. It is very good.
Okay, Mikey.
I agree with what Nathan said. That opening strings is beautiful. Great start to the album. I'm going to arguably say that I think I prefer this version to the original Estonia. It can tip either way. It can tip either way. There's about 3 or 4 tracks on this album which I think just elevate the songs to somewhere else.
Yeah, you've said that in our group chat, so you know.
Yeah, and Steve's vocal delivery on this is just so amazingly on point, and I think stronger than the studio version. I agree with what Craig said about the balalaika. I think that would have just lifted it just that little bit more. But it's Steve's delivery of this song. It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. And that's what does it for me. It wins it over the original studio version.
can I suggest we video all of these in future and we show the nods and the shakes of John's
No,
head as
no,
everybody else are giving their opinion?
No, we can't do that. No. Stephanie, what do you think of this?
I agree with Craig's comment about the balalaika. I think that was the thing that was missing for me.
Okay. Markio,
We all like the balalaika, John.
I know you can't. be wrong.
However,
Especially in the cold weather.
I do love the intro. I do love the intro. It just glides in, and then the guitar comes out, and when the guitar starts to sort of just ebb out, and yeah, I've just finished listening to some of this in surround as well from the album, and some of the tracks. How can you put it? Between the live, I listened to the live last week because I got mixed up with the weeks, so it's a bit of a distant thing, and I only just caught a couple more tracks tonight before I came on. Some tracks live, in everything, H's voice is absolutely gobsmackingly amazing on both the studio album and the live performance. I think it's been pulled out on the album right out in front, and it sounds incredible. His vocal is incredible throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Grae, yourself and me have all played the 5.1 mix of this, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, the vocals are probably a bit loud on this mix, I would say, but I mean, was it Tuesday we spoke about the surround mix, Grae?
Yeah.
I've done a complete 180 on what I thought of the surround mix. I played it this afternoon, and it absolutely transforms this record. In stereo, I find that a lot of the nuance is missing.
So we did say on Tuesday, I'm like, yeah, it's a fairly pedestrian 5.1 mix.
Yeah.
I got home from Bristol at 2:00 this afternoon and really upset my wife by putting on some Marillion for some homework and what have you. And you're right. I don't know what I was listening to the first time I listened to it.
No, you've got to have it on a reasonable volume, I think. I think
that might be it. Been able to give it a bit of a kick. Yeah.
I think there's certain tracks that are elevated more than others.
Well, there are, but we'll come on to that, mate. Yeah. We just kind of focusing on Estonia at the moment. You got any further comments on Estonia, Grae?
So I'm going to pick up on something that. So the arrangements for this are fantastic. Yeah. I just think that the arrangements are really, really well done, and with Craig saying about the balalaika being missing, that where it stops, and I said if they could bottle what they did live and capture it on the album, it would be just mind blowing, and I don't think they did quite, and the reason is. When they play these live, and this is before and after the album. When they played them live, it's a really full band sound. On the recorded album, it's less of a full band sound. It's more of an acoustic-y band sound with the strings and I think it suffers because of it. The live versions are astounding.
Yeah.
On the album itself, I always don't get me wrong. There's some of the songs on the album that I think are utterly mind blowing. This is one of them. This is so close to being better than the original. It is unbelievable. It's such a perfect. The balalaika would have put it over the edge.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But throughout it, H's voice is here. It is just so close in the mix. It is. Sometimes it's almost overpowering, but his voice is so good at this time. It really is.
I did adjust the volume on my center speaker to play it back as a more rounded level.
Yeah.
I think. The guy I miss on this record is Rothers. Yep. So a lot of the space that the orchestra takes is Rothers' area, and he's not there. I mean, the solos are there and certain things are there. I think Estonia is a great way to start because, as you've all said, that orchestral intro leads you right into the album. I think I agree with you guys. The balalaika would have been nice to sort of add to it. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the original for me, but it's a nice alternative. And I'm going to say that a few times tonight. Moving on to track 2, which is a collection. Craig.
This does elevate the original, I feel. I really do. I think the whole acoustic bit, but this just it's funny because it doesn't feel as nasty as it should do, because it's a nasty lyric and we all know the story of it and behind that. But it just feels I'm gonna say this word a lot of times, but it's just beautifully put together, and it just flows so well, and it's a very, very sympathetic arrangement to it. And so I'll put my hands up and say I do actually prefer this to the original.
Okay, cool. Nath?
I'm actually going to disagree with Craig slightly in that I actually think it's more sinister than the original. I think listening to the original, H sounds like quite a young man, and it's almost you can almost hear he's playing a character. Here, because his voice is older, it sounds like it could be him singing. I mean, we're all aware that it's not, but because it's quite clearly an older voice, it is almost, this is my life's collection. Kind of this is the story, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's done really well.
Okay. Mikey?
Well, I've always loved a collection anywhere, and when you go into this, you think, how can you better a collection? It's already perfect. They did it here. It is. I agree with Nathan. I think the change in Steve's voice over the years lends a bit more gravitas to the song, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. And what I really like about it is the fact that you can hear Ian on this.
You can't. Well, he joins in, doesn't he? He's turned up.
He joins in. He's got something to do, and it just takes it somewhere else. Like halfway through, you've got all this drum work going on. It's sublime, absolutely wonderful. 10 out of 10, brilliant.
Yeah, and there's flute all over it, Stephanie. There's flute all over it.
Yeah,
There is. I was going to say, Emma really comes into her own in this.
Well, your turn, Stephanie. So, what do you make of it all?
I agree with Nathan. I find it far more sinister than
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I think, as you say, the tone of H's voice, you just get much more of a sense of the character that is being portrayed because of that, and certainly from the arrangement. Can I say that all of the work that Mike Hunter did for the arrangement are just utterly superb.
Yeah.
Genius. But yes, there's lots of Emma, and that makes it, that gives a haunting feeling to it.
Okay, cool. Mark?
I actually did a bit of homework for this, and I've got stuff written down.
That's
and
good.
The one bit is flute is hauntingly beautiful again on this, and I've always loved. It's like if you got a mirror, and inside the mirror is the lyrics, and looking through the mirror is the music. The one is dark and evil, and the music is so beautiful. It's the juxtaposition, and it took me back to when I first realized what this song was about. And that was just a mind blower. I'm thinking, oh, I love that song. It's really beautiful. And then you start listening properly, and then you go, oh my God. And it really is. And I love that bit because it's dark and light all at the same time. And I think it's such a clever track.
Yeah. Grae?
Yeah, I mean, when I was typing up things on the iPad on the way home today for this, it was like the words I used were a creepy intimacy. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way his voice is quite prominent.
It's your wrestling name, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. Because his voice is quite prominent in the mix, but the change in his voice and the timbre of his voice gives it that there's more gravitas to it. But it's because you know what it's about now. You hear it and you go, it's just like but it's beautiful. It's just such a gorgeous arrangement, and it's like Mikey was saying, is that the contrast between the two adds it that real kind of depth. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This is probably the only song on the album that I think is better than the original. It's longer, which they just don't do. I think it's not as fragile, and it's a lot darker than the original. But the intro where the strings weave in and out of the acoustic guitar is just amazing. And this is one of the ones that on the surround mix, because of its simplicity, sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
It really does. Everything's off in its own space. You can hear everything. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. On to a track which I think picked itself for this album, didn't it? Fantastic Place to replace Mark's wonky, I said wonky, string synth sounds. Craig, Fantastic Place on here. What do you think to it?
Yeah, yeah, replacing Mark's wonky string sounds is quite a good description for it. I think this is they've gone more subtle with this. You know, it's more restrained and it's okay. But with this song, I felt this needed more than a string quartet. It needed a full orchestra, this one, because Fantastic Place is a big song. It's a bit like Afraid of Sunlight and that, you know, it needs the oomph. It hasn't quite got the oomph. It is lovely, don't get us wrong, it is lovely, but it's not quite there for me. It's not different enough. It needed a bit more welly, but I love Fantastic Place as it is in any case. So I'm never going to dislike it.
Okay, Nate.
I think it's quite sympathetic to the original, as you say.
Yeah.
It replaces those original kind of string pads that Mark plays. I'm not the biggest fan of the song anyway, if I'm honest. But you know, H sings it nicely. It's a nice version.
Can I borrow that sentence for later in the album?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think of it?
Well, Fantastic Place is in my top 2 for marbles anyway. Angelina's the one that beats it, but it's still a fucking fantastic song. This one, I think it's almost as good as the original. It's really, really close. It's just, I agree with what's been said. It's no fault on the arrangement. It's no fault on the players. It just lacks power. And it is beautiful. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's a really, really faithful representation of what's been going on in that track. It just, like I say, Craig's probably right. It probably could have just done with a few more players, you know. Just
Bit more rothery. Needs a bit more rothery.
But I think it's like Nathan said. It's very faithful. I think it's very, very close. Very close.
Okay, Stephanie, what do you make of it?
And I think that's its problem, is because I was never a great fan of Fantastic Place or Marbles, but I love it live.
Yeah.
And I love the extra that this brings to it. So maybe it elevates it a little bit above the original, but it's nothing like the live version.
No.
So for me, it's a... Yeah.
Okay. Mark?
This is a gentler version, isn't it? Slightly.
Yeah.
And I think it's not as good as the usual Marillion live version, this. And I love this song anyway. But live, well, everything when Marillion does live just is so much better than studio albums. But I think this one is to allow those other bits and pieces like the strings and the flute and everything to come in. They've had to pull back on the power, I think. But it's a lovely version. It's as I say, a nice alternative version. It's an absolutely lovely version, but I don't think it's, for me, the live Marillion version that we all know, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's got a bit more oomph.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of 3 songs on the album for me that suffer being, I don't want to say insipid because that's not what I mean, but there's not enough to it. It's just, wonky strings aside, the album version's really good. I love the original. I do. There's something special about the song. There's a reason it's been played live so often and so, you know, for so many years.
Yeah.
Live, it's taken on a life of its own. It really has. And I think when you get used to hearing that delivery and then you come to this, it's sympathetic to the original mix, but I think your point about Ruthers being missing on the album and some of the things, there's just, it needs more.
It's not particularly solos. It's the bits where he fills the sound.
Yeah, I don't mean
out.
it because his solos are played on the album.
Yeah,
It's him weaving his sound around the rest of the band, which is what he's so good at. It's a strange one because I love the song and I love this song on the album, but it's one of the weaker ones for me.
Okay, I'm just going to read my notes. I think the intro with the strings underneath H is really, really good. And Pete's bass just kind of creeps into the mix really subtly. The chorus is great, just not enough Rothery for me until the solo. Second half's all right, but it doesn't hit the highs of the original I've put. Next track is Beyond You, Craig.
Now, Beyond You is one of my favourite all-time Marillion tracks, because I mean, Afraid of Sunlight, as well, most of you know, I absolutely love it from start to finish. Beyond You, I've always loved. I love the whole Phil Spector-esque in mono and the way the wall of sound thing, all the rest of it. This doesn't have that.
No, it doesn't.
I think you get up to, the first half of the song is quite a faithful kind of orchestral arrangement to it. It builds up in the right places, but when you get to the line, I can't get beyond you, it builds up nicely, then suddenly it stops and brings it right down again, rather than building and building and building and coming up with a corking end. And I'm like, oh,
the claustrophobic feel of the original, the mono claustrophobic feel is the essence of the song, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's not here on this.
It's not, and I miss the big ending. And
you and your big endings, we know about.
Oh that. Yes, we all love a big ending.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like no, but don't get they want to do something different. They've tried something different. It's an experiment. To me, it doesn't quite work, and it's not what I expected. But that's on me.
Yeah. Okay, Nath.
I actually prefer this to the original, if I'm honest. I really like the sparseness of the strings and the lyrics. I like the fact it's so stripped back and the focus is entirely on the lyric. I think the original loses something because it is so claustrophobic and you are so surrounded by that wall of sound. I think it brings that lyric to the forefront, and I prefer it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie can't play poker.
It can't be right all the time.
For that matter.
No, definitely not. Mikey, what do you think of it?
Well, this is the first wobble on the album for me. I agree with Nathan in so much that the arrangements and the strings are wonderful, but it's not a par on what we got on Afraid of Sunlight. It's quite a solid version when it gets going. When I was a child, when it kicks in, it kicks in. But Rothery's is really, really missing on this track for me. And I agree with Craig. The ending just kind of doesn't know what it's doing. As an arrangement, I can see where it needed a proper ending, not just a fade out. Like a fade out on this track, on this album wouldn't have worked. It needs an ending, but I just don't think it quite gelled for me. It's a shame because I adore this song as much as Craig does. I think it's an amazing song, but it doesn't quite do it for me.
Okay. Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm with Craig and Michael. This is one of my favourite Marillion songs. It just makes me, the build up and all of it just encompasses me. When I listen to it, and this version just doesn't make me feel the same. It just doesn't finish in the same way. You don't get that build up that's just all consuming, and it just doesn't work. It's beautiful in itself, but it just doesn't work in the same way as the original.
Okay, Mark, you gonna disagree?
No, I love this track because to me this track is H. This is vocal up front. Everything else is all around the vocal. He's brought out to the front more, I think. and you got the flute, the violin, and the vocal together, but then the restrained but kind of almost sporadic, chilled out bass. And then then it builds up to the bit where it's If I Were a Child, and the tubular bells kick in.
I've got that
And
on
I love, and then that comes out.
Tubular bells and castanets. I've got on my
We'll say, and it's even more so on the album,
on the surround. Yeah,
and I love it on the 5.1. But I still prefer the live version. It's again, it's more powerful when it's done live. It's more emotional. You know, he really puts everything into this. But other than that, you take bits and pieces from what everybody said and agree with most of it.
Okay, so. Grae?
I love this song. I really do. And this was close to being one of my favourite songs on this album, because when I first heard it, we'd heard Estonia, but I hadn't listened to any of it until I got the coloured vinyl. Yeah. And I remember sitting in my room with the floor standers and putting the album on it, and it gives it a little bit more. What's my favorite? My word? My word's girth, isn't it? It gives it a little bit more girth, and I absolutely love it. And this starts so frailly, and then build, and it does have the build. It does have that. It does grow, and I thought, yes, this is amazing. And then it stops, and I was like, sorry, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know how they could have finished it in the same way as on the original, but it just takes away everything that the song was about. That it's not meant to finish nicely. It's just meant to like envelop you and crush you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do it. And I'm like, what a missed opportunity. And I don't know how they would have done it, which is why maybe they did what they did. But it just, it's such a missed opportunity for me.
Yeah. I agree with most of you apart from Nathan. I think Pete's bass is too low in the mix. It misses the original mono sound. There are callbacks to the Spectrism, so the tubular bells and castanets give it that Spectre feel, but it's so open.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel claustrophobic anymore. And as you guys have said, that's what the song is about to me. It's about being so wrapped up in someone you can't think of anything else. And it's a nice experiment, but I don't think it quite hits the mark, if I'm honest. The next track is This Strange Engine. Craig.
Who doesn't love a bit of This Strange Engine? Absolute corker. This version, I don't necessarily think it adds too much to it, because it's always been a big song. I think the orchestration in it is very, very subtle, and it's nice, and I love the addition of the missing lines. I know John disagrees with us a bit on.
I don't. It's just when you're never quite sure whether he's going to throw them in or not live, and so when I'm singing along, I get confused. That's all it is.
But I think we were just saying earlier on about how the orchestration is just replacing a bit of Mark's like synth kind of stuff. I think it's a bit similar with this, but I do love this version of the song. Do I prefer it over the original? No, but I really like it. So I can quite happy listen to either of them.
Yeah, you've got both. You've got both.
Yeah. So but I think it's H's vocals are obviously more mature on this than they were. So possibly it gets you more into like what the live version sounds like. But no, it's a thumbs up from Craigie.
Okay, Nath.
I pretty much just need to echo everything Craig's just said. It's pretty faithful to the original. It doesn't add a great deal to it. It's a Marillion classic. It was always going to be pushed for to be on there because of how universally popular it is. I only know sort of one person that absolutely despises it.
I think I know that person.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
Well, they need a slap.
Well, when you meet them, I shall point it out to you, and you can do that. But then be prepared, because you'll get one back. Okay. Mikey.
This Strange Engine to this day is still my favourite Marillion long form song. Nothing's beaten it since for me. And this version is absolutely awesome. I slightly disagree with the orchestra not lending much to this. I think it's just given the song so much more depth and layers. It's subtle, but they're there. And if you listen out for them, it's absolutely wonderful. I agree with what's been said about the fact that Steve's older now. I think it gives it the song a bit more gravitas. His vocal delivery's top notch, absolutely top notch. And as especially honed in on Ian's drumming in this.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Yeah.
Really tight, and there seems to be more drumming on this version as well than what was in the original. Whether that's just been the way it's been mixed or what, I don't know. I actually think this is. I'm probably going to play this version more now than the Strange Engine version. I listened to the remix from last year again today and was trying to play them side by side. They're as good as each other. You know, like John says, you've got both, play both. You know, you've got nothing to lose. They're both absolutely amazing tracks.
Okay. Stephanie.
This is another one of my favourite Marillion songs.
Did you pick the lineup for this album? Did
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Particularly the guitar solo. So first things first with that, it's my favourite guitar solo, apart from maybe The Crow and the Nightingale, which is
Yes. Yeah.
And my fear was that it would always be spoilt because of anything else on there. I think for me, this guitar solo came into its own with the whole Montreal thing, which we've been over, you know, with the whole thing, etc. And it gives me goosebumps and makes me cry. And so I was quite protective about it, but it's not detracted from at all. If anything, it's enhanced by it. And for that, I'm very, very grateful.
Brilliant.
As a song overall, I feel very much more that it's much more of a storytelling song. You get that sense, I think, because of H's vocals, how they're arranged in the mix, and obviously the maturity. So I like that very much. And the bit I think in this song that I love is when the whole bit Daddy came out of the Navy to the whole Cloud of Bees thing.
Yeah.
Strings in there really fill that section out, and the Blue Pain section, that's a very sweet moment. Do I prefer it over the original? No, but absolutely this has merit.
Yeah. Okay. Mark?
This track is definitely in the top 5, probably in the top 3 of my all-time Marillion track list. There are so many different parts of this, and I think it matters more because it is about him and the way he puts it out there. There's certain things in this that make me cry, and I still don't know why. The lyric the part where it goes from into the bit wax paper bag of yesterday's bread.
Yeah.
And is that kind of, it just gets me, and I don't know why.
That melancholy, is it?
Yeah. You get the. I don't know whether we bounce in between the live versions and because live, this thing just explodes.
Don't peak too early. Live's later on. Live's later on. Just the studio version at a minute.
Right. Well, I've heard it. I've only heard it in surround. I didn't see
that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah. The children, Lauren in the background. When it comes through from behind you, is absolutely stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, it's good.
Puts you right in the middle.
Yeah.
The flute and the guitar are all in the back. It's got one of my favorite all-time lyrics because it means so much to everyone, and that's the bit where it says, "Turn cities into families," and that to me is Marillion, where we all come from different places, and come back as one family. I love that bit. There's the other bit as well. There's the "You're the Only One," where it goes into the guitar.
Yeah.
And I just the build up from that. Sublime the build up is, and it just keeps going up and up, and then it kind of drops back again. And then as you said, the bit it's the bit where he goes on about his dad leaving the Navy, going to this dirty old town, whatever, Doncaster and stuff like that. It kind of pulls in the sacrifice that his father left all of that behind to come back and everything. And Kelly's synth is awesome in this, I think. Drums kick in louder, and the violins and the synths start in the build up and everything. And yeah, it's just one of those classic songs, and it's got a part in it which really gets to me, because the bit with the bees, that happened to me when I was 8 years old. I ran through a wasp's or a bee's nest, and I got stung to buggery. So that really resonates with me, because I know exactly what that's like. And they don't sting you just in little places; they sting you everywhere. So I've had all the blue covered in the blue stuff when I was a kid. So yeah, that really sort of bops home to me. So yeah, just stunning track.
Is this version better than the original?
I think so. Not by a lot, but I think so.
That'll do. Great.
So I have never disliked this song, but I've often been nonplussed. I didn't really get a lot of what everybody else did, and I don't know why.
It's never been on my top 10 list, this track, because of the transitions on the original. I just think it's a little bit clunky at times. But I have to say, this flows.
And I'm going to get
far better.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. So I think the clunkiness is something of it, and also I think the personalness, if that's a word, the sort of the way the lyrics are so personal. For me, I struggle sometimes to relate to that because it is so personal. So I was never really. I mean, I appreciate the song, I really do. I think it's a great piece of music, but it was never in my favorites list. And I was a bit kind of nervous putting the needle down on this, because I thought, oh, here we go. First of all, because I think Rothers plays a huge part in the original. And I was like, if he's not in the rest of the stuff I've heard so far, what's this going to be like? And that bit that Mikey's just like when Rothers comes in and starts leading. When that kicked in on this version, I was like, yes, it's there. For me, this is better than the original. I like this song now, and I like it because of this version. There's something, and it might be because of the fact that it sounds like an older man. Because there is something. The timbre of your voice adds a lot to a story. It adds a lot to, especially if you're something that's looking back. If you're looking back and you're not looking back too far, you're like, yeah, whatever, get over it. We all have problems. But when you've got that maturity and you're going, this is how I felt as a little child. This is why I am who I am. This is where I've come from. This is what happened in my life. It gives that kind of, and none of us are getting younger. Well, maybe one of us is still slightly older. So we can relate a little bit more to it now as well, I think. And that song, the way it's delivered, just adds so much to this version. I love it.
Okay. I would agree with you. This probably is my favorite version of this Strange Engine, I think. To listen to it on the surround on the Blu-ray, it's got the screen images on the screen, which are great. The media from the back of the gig is on the screen. The intro's got some lovely xylophone off in the surround speakers,
and it's off in the distance as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real sort of tinkly xylophone. It's fantastic. There's some woodwind on the remind him of Just Before He Was Born section that just wraps around you. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then I've just got lost in this mix, so stop making notes. I think Pete's bass in the Blue Pain section, really deep. It just cuts through everything. It's fantastic. Sorry, Mark.
One thing we have forgotten, nobody's mentioned this, and it's absolutely fantastic. The sax. The saxophone in
Yeah.
this is
Well,
absolutely
it's the
banging.
original sax, isn't it, from the
Yeah, but
album? I think.
I don't know why
think
it
they brought
just
him
sounds
back.
it sounds extra raspy and gorgeous.
Doesn't it? Okay, and gorgeous.
It's
Extra
absolutely
raspy.
gorgeous.
There you go.
Extra
That's
raspy.
They
That's
are
a Welsh
Phil,
term, obviously.
I'm sure Phil Todd's not listening, but if he is, he's
Oh,
raspy
bless.
and gorgeous. There you go. Yeah, I think this is great. They follow that with the Hollow Man, Craig.
Always loved the Hollow Man.
Hmm.
I think this version is very, very sympathetic to it, and this almost feels like this is what they would have done on the original album if they had had the time and the money for it. Because you could, apart from H's vocals sounding different on this to how he sounded back in '93 and '94, you could almost pick this up and plonk it on Brave, and I don't think it would sound that much different. I really like this version of it. Do I prefer it over the original? I'm not so sure, but I do like it.
Okay, cool. Nath?
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the original. There's something about it that just doesn't quite resonate with me. Whether it's the fact that it's not part of that larger piece that is Brave, or something about the arrangement, but something about it just doesn't work as well as the original for me. As Craig says, it's quite sympathetic, but it's just not. It's not reaching the heights of the original for me.
Okay, Mikey?
Yeah, this is the second wobble on the album for me. Like Craig, I've always loved the Hollow Man. Brave's a fantastic piece of music from start to finish. And I think Nathan's nailed it there. I think when you take it out of context and surrounded by other stuff, it loses itself. But whatever they've done with it, I mean, there wasn't a lot to do with it anyway. I mean, it's quite a simple arrangement and very sympathetic. But it just doesn't quite deliver. It hasn't. I don't feel it's got the emotion behind it. And the thing that really upsets me about it is the end, because you haven't got that last piano chord ringing out. You know, it's just, it loses that weight at the end. So no, it doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid.
Okay. Stephanie?
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. I guess it loses some of its simplicity. So you lose that sort of sense of hollowness, really. But I have to say there's some cracking horn in there from Sam.
Well, there you go. The
Mrs.
first mention of cracking horn so far tonight. Well done for that, yeah. Okay. Mark, follow that.
How can you follow that? I love it's as I say, it's a stripped back track. It's H's vocal in this is so clear and crisp. It's stunning. It's really brilliant, and there's a lot of emotion in it. The piano, violins and flutes come in. I think it's on par with the original, but like Mikey said, what you're missing is the stuff surrounding it, which is when it's in Brave, it's there's those tracks are not around it, and it's not. And I think that's the only difference.
Okay, great.
So I think one of the biggest issues on this for me is the way it's EQ'd. Is the different. So there's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of shrillness to this. There's a lot more of the top end, both in H's voice and in the piano, which gives it a kind of a brittleness. Whereas the original, and if you, particularly that chord at the end, the piano, like when it sounds out of it, there's a bottom end to it, which I think is missing from this. And also, I don't want it to be rearranged. For me, Hollow Man is one of those best. It's one of the best pieces of music that is somebody sitting with a piano, singing a sad song, and it doesn't need to be touched. And I think it's almost a travesty that they've done more to it, because the simplicity of it is what, for me, makes it that heartfelt, sort of heartstring pulling thing. It's such an amazing piece of music, and I think it loses it in this.
Okay. I disagree with all of you. I think it's a wonderful version. I think, I think the intro the way the cello underpins the piano in the intro is absolutely gorgeous. And then there's woodwind added after the first chorus. And then from the blind eyes see the fragile vandalize, it builds in a really, really nice way. It's not better than the original. It's just different.
Different, yeah.
And it's wonderful for that. It really is. And following the end of TSE, as it does on the album, as it does on the vinyl, on that side of the vinyl, it's just what you need. You've got that big ending of TSE before it, and then it comes back down to Hollow Man. It's brilliant. Sorry, guys, I disagree.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion.
I know, and we're going to disagree about this track as well, I think. Track 7, Craig, Sky Above the Rain.
For me, this has always been the highlight of this album because I prefer this version over the original Sounds That Can't Be Made by a Country Mile. And I know this is where me and John have always disagreed about this because they'll talk a bit at the end where it comes down. But I'll say the orchestration all the way through, absolutely beautiful. Rother's version of the solo on this, I actually prefer to the original by far. And I think I actually prefer the end section of this to the original version. So for me, hands down, this is the definitive version, studio-wise for me. When we talk about the live version, that brings it up another notch, but we'll talk about that when we cover the live album. But to me, I absolutely adore this version of this song.
Okay. Nath?
Absolutely disagree with everything Craig's just said.
I do too as well, mate. Just to agree with you. Yeah.
For me, the payoff at the end of the Sounds version is what makes the whole song work.
Absolutely.
The fact it goes up.
That emotional release, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly that. And you get to that point and it goes down and you just go, oh, okay.
What?
But it goes back up again at the end.
It's too late, Craig. It's too late. It has to be at the right time.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's never been one of my favourites, but the payoff isn't there for me, and I'm not a fan.
No. Okay, Mikey.
Sky Above is probably my favourite track on Sounds. I think this is on par with it, but I like them for different reasons. I agree with Craig to a point, but the ending is not on par with the original version, nowhere near. I just think that, like you say, it needs that soaring lift at the end, but all the way through on this album, on this version, on this album, I just think the arrangement is absolutely phenomenal. I really do. It's just layers and layers and layers of different sounds. I think it takes the track somewhere else to where the original studio album did. I wouldn't say it's better. It's like an A-side, B-side, double A track for me. I think you can take things from both, but I don't think it's as good as the original, no.
Okay. Stephanie?
A bit conflicted about this song because in some ways I agree it's not the same, it's not as good as the album because of that building up to that second part. But I do love the bit, when it's maybe they'll talk, the rain's below us. It's different. As I say, I feel quite conflicted about it because I love it as it is, but it's not the same.
You don't have to choose. We can have both.
Yeah,
it's
no.
all right.
This is where my head is this week.
Okay.
I've got to choose.
All right. In this case, you don't have to choose.
Thank you. But the guitar solo, I think, is absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Maybe better than on the album.
Okay. Mark?
Guitar solo is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I just love the guitar solo in this. You get the build up to the blue sky bit and then the guitar solo, and then it just suddenly stops and you get the piano and the cello coming in. And then maybe they'll talk section. And then there's this guitar in it towards the end that has got that same resonance and vibe as Asylum Satellite 1. It's the same guitar sound. I'm pretty sure it is this in Asylum Satellite 1 towards the end. But yeah, it's a fantastic track. There's bits of this that resonate with parts of my life at the time, so I'll leave it there.
Okay, moving on. Yes. Grae.
Yeah, they were always on a loser with this one for me, because on the album itself, the original album, it's one of my favourite songs. In fact, it's one of my favourite songs of modern Marillion. It is just one of the most powerful things I've ever listened to. It destroys me every time. The release at the end is just almost uplifting, but soul destroying. You know what I mean? It's that whole. It's just amazing, and I think, because it doesn't have it, because it's not that it doesn't have it, it's that it's different. And I'm so invested in the original. I think I can't appreciate this for what it is. But I also do think this suffers from the same as Hollow Man in the piano side. I don't know if it's a different type of piano that they've used, as in scale or whatever. I'm not sure. But the sound of the piano on this is different to the sound that was used on the album. And I think there's a brittleness to this one, whereas there's a heartfeltness, there's a warmth to the other one that just, I can't compare the two.
Okay. Well, Craig, I apologise for shouting at you earlier, but you could not be more wrong about this. This track shouldn't even be on the record for me. This is a travesty. It just shouldn't be there. It just shouldn't be there. I'm sorry, I can't say any more than that.
So the original was perfect, I think.
The original's amazing.
Yeah.
This doesn't add anything at all to it. At all. The others, Hollow Man, I think, is a different take. This just doesn't. It's not even in the same league. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig. Track 8.
We've all got our opinions.
Is Season's End.
This is it's another one of those very sympathetic ones where the strings are quite in the background, and they're replacing a lot of like Mark's keyboard sounds and stuff like that. I think it sounds lovely. Is it much different to the original? Not hugely. It's nice. It's got some nice like strings and stuff in the background like that. Again, H's more mature vocals on it. But no, I think it's one of those ones that you can. It's like we're saying, like you've got two versions now, so you can pick and choose. It doesn't bring anything great new to it, but it's very sympathetic.
Okay, Nath.
Exactly what Craig said. The only thing I would add is I prefer the interplay in the end section where Rothers is playing the ebow and the atmospherics of it. I think the strings and the woodwind, I think they really add something to it, and it not being a synth patch, I think that adds something to the song. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. You've just got to pick which one you prefer to listen to.
Kiddo, Mikey.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing again. It's nice. I mean, you're never going to beat the original version of Season's End. No way, mate. But it was like when the space was redone for Royal Albert Hall. It's like, yes, it's amazing. Yes, it's but don't go comparing it. Just enjoy it for what it is. And I have to take that with this version as well. I just really, really enjoy it and try not to compare it. It's got loads of layers and depth to it, and I agree with Nathan that outro bit is amazing. It's got a Mike Oldfield Tubular Bells feel to it. The interplay is absolutely amazing. Love it, love it, love it. Brilliant stuff.
Okay, Stephanie.
But this is my favourite on the album.
Okay.
And I feel it gives it so much more of a richness all the way through. And out of all of them, I feel it's the biggest orchestra sound. I don't feel that it's in the background. I feel you get that whole sense of an orchestra. And I feel that it adds so much to it. I love the horn in the guitar solo. Mm-hmm. I think that adds another layer. And as we've all said, the outro, with the strings coming in, the flute coming in, I think it's
the interplay is brilliant, isn't it? Yeah,
of music with so many layers. I think it's a wonderful arrangement. And actually, when I listen to it, because I haven't listened to this album for quite some time, I actually got goosebumps when I listened to this, which I probably wouldn't do when I listen to Seasons End normally.
No. Okay. Mark?
I listened to Seasons End and Ocean Cloud today before, because I was quite late last night when I was doing this. Excuse me. And it's a lot of the stuff in this one at the beginning is very subtle, because I wasn't sure whether the track had gone on the 5.1 version or it was just the stereo. And you only realized when I did jump into the stereo that I was in 5.1 previously. So there's a lot of subtle stuff. I've got written down here. I got very clear and full sound. H's vocals are awesome once again. The surround parts of this are quite subtle. You've got rear effects like the twiddly bits that Mark puts in of the keyboard coming in behind you. Most of the instruments I think in this are all up front on the front speakers and stuff. But then you got what I think is either a xylophone or a glockenspiel coming in the back, in the rear again, but it's all quite subtle. So they haven't sort of surrounded it up as much as some of the other tracks. But I think it's very subtle and it kind of works. I was expecting a little bit more from the surround mix in this, if I'm honest. And some of the other tracks have got more to them, but it's got a very clear and full sound to it when it's in surround.
I think Mike's getting better and better at the surround mixes. He doesn't take the Stephen Wilson angle on surround mixes. There's not stuff whizzing around in different corners. It's all he decides where he's going to play something, and that's where it goes.
Sometimes, John, less is more.
Hey, I see what you did there.
But no, it is. It's something that's very subtle, but it kind of works. I love Seasons End. It's a great track, but good track. Thought it might push a little bit more out of it, but hey, it is what it is. But right. I still love it all the same. So
cool, great.
Well, I was going to make a really terrible pun, but someone's already done it, so I'll not bother.
Sorry,
but so
say it again, and Craig will cut his out. You're all right.
Yeah. So this is definitely an example where less is more. I mean, I talked right at the beginning about replacing the ambience with the orchestra, and I don't think they've managed it up to now. I think the album's been good, but this is head and shoulders the best track on the album. There is something to this, the way it's been done. It's very sympathetic to the original mix, and everything that they do to it adds more. And I think there's the bits where I'm sure I'm right that there's bits where Mark's keyboards are floating around, and there's little flute bits that kind of go in and out of around the keyboard parts as well. And you just this stuff that H's delivery is astounding. And I mean, when I wrote my notes for it, the first thing I was like Rothers with an exclamation mark, because he is in this track. This is a Rothers track on the album, and it is just. I prefer it to the original.
Wow.
I really do prefer this version to the original. There's just something about this song. I've always loved it. I always think it's always been an amazing song. So it kind of carries me away quite quickly. But this version is just something special.
Okay. I kind of agree with all of your different points, though. I think the first half of it, there isn't a lot of the band on it, if that makes sense. I think where this track really picks up is from the instrumental bit in the middle onwards. I think that's where the orchestra really come into their own, and it gives you that point of difference. Is it better than the original? Not for me, I would have said, but it's nice to have it as a different option. And I think Mark's sort of touched on something. The surround of this is really nice as well. Final track on the album, a mere 18 minutes of Ocean Cloud. Craig, sum up 18 minutes of Ocean Cloud.
This is the track that actually surprised me, because I think the orchestration and the arrangement on this is just beautiful. I think it's very sympathetic through, but you've got more of the orchestra all the way through it, providing like a backdrop to the rest of the music, and it just, I mean, the orchestration, the flute, it's just gorgeous, and I would probably say I actually prefer this version to the original, because I think it's sumptuous, and it just, yeah, that it's one of my favorites on this album, and I think it's beautifully done. And yeah, and there's one bit I do like. I'll do a spoiler now before I forget, in the live version, and I'll just like the little subtle bit in the live version. There's a bit of a sea shanty played.
It's on this as well.
Ah, because yeah,
It's on
I think
this, yeah.
it's more noticeable, I think, on
You can hear it in the surround mix. It's definitely there, yeah.
Yeah, you can't hear it so much in
No,
in the stereo mix, but in the live version, it's definitely there. But no, I love it. Really, really do. Really love it.
Cool. Nath?
There is no, I can add the only thing I particularly picked out that's different to what Craig said is there's like a solo violin kind of about halfway. So before the Knucklehead teacher section, there's a solo violin. It might be the sea shanty that Craig's picked up.
Yeah, the Irish,
really
the
nice
Irish
touch.
lilt. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a really nice touch.
That's around the news clip, isn't it? Of him.
Yes.
Yeah, it's around that section. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice touch. I think it gives some atmosphere to that section, and I think it elevates that section up, because for me that's probably been the weakest section on Ocean Cloud in my opinion, and it just takes it up to that next level.
Okay, Mikey.
This is the track that I said was actually makes the original more bearable to listen to. I always used to say that there was a really good 7-minute song in Ocean Cloud.
There is. It's before the wave comes in and Pete goes.
Yeah. The first 7 minutes. Yeah. The years have been unkind, so Ocean Cloud, but kind enough.
We saved that.
I've written that down, haven't you?
Like he's won the internet today.
Yeah. I can listen to this version. I really. I agree with everything that Craig said and Nathan said. The orchestra just wraps around Marillions' music. It just gives it something that wasn't there on the original. I always said that Ocean Cloud on a Marbles just felt out of place. It just...
You just need the one disc version then, don't you?
Well, yeah, which is probably why I play more often than not. And it is a far superior version in my book.
Okay.
I still think it's a wasted 18 minutes on the album, though. I think there's tracks like the stuff from Arachnophobia, like 21st Century or When I Meet God, that I think would have been wonderfully done on this. But it's what we were given.
Just for the record, listeners, Nathan's agreeing with that. Stephanie, what do you make of Ocean Cloud on here?
I love it. I was just doing a little bit of listing there.
Yeah, I could see you doing a bit of research.
I've written something down, and I couldn't actually read my own writing to see what I'd written down.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
As I'm talking to you, I've listened to the albums.
See ya.
See, I didn't do all my homework, but I did do some of it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I love the way that the strings emphasize the motion of the sea. You get that ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, my worry was in the guitar solos that you would then lose that feeling in the guitar solo that he's alone. It's like you relate that sound to the fact that he's there on the water on his own, or I do in my head.
Yeah.
But actually, no, that adds to it. It adds to the wall of sound. So you sort of, again, it brings in more motion. I think it's a great addition to it. I wouldn't say it's better, but it just brings another dimension to it.
Cool. Okay. Mark.
Again, this one starts off quite subtly, I think. You get the waves all in the rear and the background. and then the keyboards in the rear. There's some amazing wailing guitar in here. I don't know if that's what you really call it. I'm not technical, but most of the instruments I felt were mostly out the front. The vocals, guitar, drum, bass. Nicely done, not overwhelming, but I love as well the and all of a sudden I thought, hang on, I've got Kenneth Baker behind me. And I think I'm pretty sure it's Kenneth Baker on the news report, isn't it?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Don Allen when he's talking,
Yeah.
and he's the build up to the wave and that, and I think that's all in the rear speakers, and that really does, with all the lapping of the waves and the seagulls, it really puts you right in the middle of the sea, and I love that. That's fantastic.
Okay, Grae.
I'll just turn it off, shall I? I was just
What?
checking. I play the music with one ear on, one ear
It
on.
probably wasn't just me.
No, it wasn't just you.
We're all doing it. We're all doing
I
it.
was just trying to make sure. So Stephanie's point about the strings and the motion. So I think the first time you really notice that is about the sort of the 3.5 minutes just before the first guitar solo. You feel the strings coming in, and I don't know if it's the way they're mixed, but it does. It just makes you want to go like that, and then Rothers comes in, and the whole thing explodes.
Sorry, that's very visual what you've just done there.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. All right, you're swaying left to right. You know,
Thank
you're
you.
going with the
Thank
way the vote. Yeah, and then the whole thing. And Rod, I mean, it's like a 1 minute 20 guitar solo before everything else comes in and crashes again, and it's just from that point on, it's stunning. And I think, Mikey, although the surround sound is really subtle, I mean, I think that's why when we were doing it from memory, John, when we said, yeah, it's
Pedestrian, yeah.
a very pedestrian. It's not that it's pedestrian; it's that it's been done really, really subtly.
If you compare, I mean, we listen to quite a lot of surround music, and we're talking about surround mixers like Wilson, like Jacko Jackson, like you know, who do it in a different style. Mike
Very
doesn't
different.
do that.
No, Mike tends to, like you say, he puts things in a position and keeps them there, but he also tries. He doesn't do. So if you listen to the Peter Gabriel stuff or the Stephen Wilson stuff, they try and put you in the middle of a room with everything around you and throw everything at you. This doesn't happen here.
To me, that's what surround music should be now.
But yeah, which is why I think we said this was a pedestrian mix. But having listened to the stereo mix of Ocean Cloud, and then put the second disc on from the Blu-ray, and I was like, oh, actually, I think I prefer this. It's
I don't think that the stereo is a true version of this album. It hides a lot of what they've done on this record.
Very much so. Very much so.
The surround really opens the sound up, and you can hear all the work that's gone into it.
I wouldn't have said that last week, but
no, I did. Agree. I wouldn't. It was this morning I put it on at a decent volume, and it really, you know, as I think most of us have said, we very rarely pull this record out the racks now. When it came out, we played it all the time.
I loved it when it came out. I didn't play it until I agreed to come onto the show, to be honest.
But I think I'll be digging that Blu-ray out again because the surround mix is definitely worth a revisit. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off about Ocean Cloud.
I unwrapped my Blu-ray yesterday.
What? Did you? Well done.
Yeah, or last week. Sorry.
Well done,
so there you go.
Done.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it in the sale?
No, I bought it.
You bought it already when it first came out?
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
I've done loads of stuff like that. All my special editions are pretty much waiting for John to flog it so I can sound to him again.
It's going to happen. Just don't tell Leslie, yeah. Any more to say on Ocean Cloud, Grae?
No.
I really shouldn't be the last person to talk about it then. What did you say earlier in the pod, Mikey, about not being your favourite track? That applies to this for me. Craig knows how I struggle with Ocean Cloud.
You always have.
It's John's
always have.
This is in the gig.
You can go for a meal during this, can't you? But usually to the merch and to the get hot dog and a beer and a toilet. Yeah. I don't know. I think that the surround mix on this is too busy. I think the strength of the other tracks is the simplicity. And that allows Mike to put things in a place and you get that space. But in the middle of this where everything's going on in the kitchen sink and it's just too busy.
But isn't that the point of it though? That when
it's the point of the track,
when he's
but-
getting stormed over and he's got all this stuff going on and
But
fighting
all
with
these
the elements.
clever things that they've tried to do just become mush then.
Yeah. Okay.
I imagine
For
that's
me,
how
I think that's
really-
your cloth ears, though, isn't it?
Pardon? My
That's your-
cloth ears. Sorry. Craig's on this podcast and you talk about my cloth ears. Jeff off. This is what I'll say respectfully. No, it's not a favourite track. I mean, the whole album kind of tails off for me from Hollow Man. That's the last really good track on here, but for me, but that's just my opinion. But it's a solid 80-minute album, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Ocean. I like Ocean Cloud on this, but I think it's one of the 3 songs that I would prefer to listen to the originals and prefer to. So, and it's Fantastic Place, Sky Above the Rain, and Ocean Cloud are the ones that I would much rather listen to the originals.
And the one track that's not on here that I'd love to have had a really good surround mix of is Gaza.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
well,
going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Just park that because that's for the live album. Park that. We're not talking about it now. Anything else to say about the album before we talk about format? Grae's just stroking his coloured vinyl.
You're all ready to slide into your favourites.
We are. We haven't done this for ages. When did we last do a favourite?
It's about six.
It's about 6 months ago. It's got to be, isn't it?
It's going to be dried up and shriveled.
There's nothing like a stroke of vinyl, I'll tell you.
Favourite slot time, Craig.
We're going to greasy it
Just
up ready. Get the gimp
Get
mask going.
your just for the record clip out.
Get your 12 inches out.
Okay, boys. Come on, show your 12 inches.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of us. Where's yours, Dave?
Downstairs.
Downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Great, you're going to get it out? Mikey's getting him out.
There you go, got it out.
So the original ear music.
Honestly, if anyone came in part way through this, what else going on?
Yeah. What is it? Blue and yellow, is it? Blue and red? I can't remember.
Blue and red.
Blue and red.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice pressing, isn't it?
It is a nice pressing. It is a really nice pressing. And like I say, I remember obviously we had the Estonia thing. I didn't listen to it online when it first came out. I waited until I got my record through the post and I put it on the floor standards, and it sounds fantastic. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great pressing. I mean, but predating that was the Racket CD, wasn't it?
Yes.
What are we? Racket? I can't read this. Intact. What is it? Intact. Intact CD 19.
Intact. I need to see an optician. Is that what it says? That's what it
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
John, go and check your glasses.
I've got them on. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah. But Nate,
Just
there is an ear music version of this as well. There's an ear music CD.
Yes.
There's a digipack.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
I'm looking on the Marillion website. So there was an ear music digipack CD, an ear music double OP, and a coloured vinyl.
Yeah. Anything about the sleeve? Umi Fiddle's on fire.
I love the artwork. I do. I love the artwork. So it's very Floyd artwork for me. There's something about it that gives me that kind of that Storm. Yeah. That Storm Thorgerson sort of.
Oh, it's Carl Glover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Carl Glover did it.
Yeah.
I like it, but I think it could be misconstrued as we've set fire to violins, we've got rid of the orchestra on this album, not we've took them on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the strings are on fire.
Could be.
Yeah.
This
An
is
odd choice, I think.
This is a story about t-shirts.
Is it?
White t-shirts.
Oh, the over ordering thing. That was over delivered, yeah.
I remember turning up at the Royal Albert Hall and thinking, where are all these boxes? Where are these boxes coming from? And there was a mix-up, and it was down to the t-shirt supplier that it was a double order. And it's always a nightmare there because you have to, because it's a concession, you've got to count everything in and count everything out. And because I'd not done the tour, so I literally arrived and all these t-shirts arrived, and I'm just, I don't know what's going on here. And yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. And I think I finally got rid of the very last white t-shirt at Leicester after years of trying to flog them all off for £5. And the worst thing was, it's a white t-shirt, which is always our least popular to sell.
Yeah.
And the print on it was fairly shit as well.
Oh dear. If you've got one, obviously it's not. Yeah.
No, all the things to be double ordered, it was probably the worst possible choice. So
yeah, I think that t-shirt would have been better, but the image was like a circle, wasn't it? It was quite small. So it wasn't the greatest. It would have been good as a full design rather than as like a little circle. But anyway, semantics.
Go on.
The European tour t-shirts are much nicer. They're black and
black with
so
good across the bottom. Yeah, much better. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite t-shirts actually.
Anyhow, we've talked about this record for longer than it actually is, so I think we're going to pull things.
Cloud and this strange engine on.
I know. I think we're going to draw this episode to a close, and in episode 2, we'll talk about the tour and we'll talk about live from Cardiff St David's, if that's all right. So I would like to thank you for listening. Firstly, if you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. We could always do with a few more subscribers just to get the word out there. But I would like to thank Stephanie.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Marco.
Been great to see you all again.
And you. Nice to see you, mate. Thank you, Mikey.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, Grae.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. And of course, thank you to my podcast better/other half, Craig.
Yeah, it depends whether we agree or not.
We very rarely agree, Craig. There you go. I've said I'm going to get hounded again because I've said travesty on here, so that's
you know I love you,
and you too, mate. It does a cracking job.
Opposites attract.
Yes. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me,
and it's good night from him.
Take care.
Who's going to do it then?
And stay alive.
Go on there, Mark. Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all the good stuff.